Look inside yourself. Laugh. God patterned you and me after himself. That is so, so amazing to think of. Hey, good morning, guys and girls. It is a beautiful morning, January 2nd, 2020. January 2nd. We're going to be reading on our catch of the day today from, hey, girls, can y'all read? Can you read? Huh? Can you read? Hey, can you read? Hey, babies. I know you want to come and get a little sugar and stuff. Okay, we're going to be reading from Genesis, early in the year, early in the Bible. Genesis 1:27. So God created human beings in his image. So God created human beings in his image. God could have made us look like anything he wanted. We could have looked like those space aliens that we see on Star Trek or Men in Black. Men in Black had about space aliens looking about every way you could possibly think of, or that Hollywood could think of. We could have looked like frogs or fish, deer, or anything else that God chose. But he chose to pattern us after himself. We're patterned after God physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We're not God, we're not perfect, but we are patterned to be that way. You are patterned to be perfect. I am patterned to be perfect. Amazing. The next time you have a pity party about how you look or feel, think about what God could have made you look like and how he could have made you feel. Then look in that mirror and smile. In fact, some of you might want to look in that mirror and laugh. Look inside yourself. Laugh. God patterned you and me after himself. That is so, so amazing to think of. God loved us enough. He made all the animals. He created the fish. He created everything. And yet he loved us so much before we were born that he patterned us after himself. He made us like him. So think about that. Think about that. Hey, let's look at our tip for the day. Tip for the day is spool on new line at the start of every year and every 4 to 6 weeks during fishing season. Now, that's something I get asked about a lot. How often do you change line? How often do you change line? Well, in tournament fishing, we change line every single tournament. We practice with old line that was on the spools, and then when we start the tournament, we spool on new line for those 2 or 3 or 4 days of the tournament, depending on how long the tournament is. And then we'll not change it, but we'll have another tournament maybe in 2 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks. But if you're not fishing tournaments, probably about every 5 or 6 weeks is probably a pretty good rule of thumb as far as changing line. And, you know, if you're using a braided line, obviously braided line does not have to be changed very often. It'll just last and last and last. But if you're using fluorocarbon line, if you're using monofilament line, those lines need to be changed pretty frequently. And remember, the worst thing in the world on fishing line is heat. So where you keep your fishing rods is important. A lot of people carry fishing rods in their vehicles with them. If you have your fishing rod in your vehicle, you know during the summertime, it gets really, really, really hot. And so if you let that fishing rod in your vehicle and it gets really, really hot and you get up there and you get a big fish on, 15-pound test line might break at 8 or 10-pound test because the heat breaks down monofilament, it breaks down copolymer. And as far as on leaders, we use fluorocarbon coated leaders. I use high seas fluorocarbon coated leaders on my braid. And so the leaders is all you have to worry about there. As a matter of fact, most of the time you will actually end up changing leaders pretty frequently because as you retie on new lures, you change and move them down. But changing line is very, very important. It's very critical. And make sure you fill those spools all the way up. Make sure that when you put on line, you get those spools just as full as they possibly can get, and it will really make a big difference in your fishing, especially on a casting reel. One of the problems I see, now on spinning reels, you want to have, just about a 1/4 inch left up there. Don't fill those all the way full. But on a casting reel, you want to fill them all the way. And because as you throw it out there, you're having less and less line on there. So casting reels, fill them up. Spinning reels, leave you a little bit extra down there. Spooling on line, very, very important. And remember, as you go through the day, God created you in his image.